Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture, and welcome to Movie Mondays. And today we're going to be doing the HBO Max movie called The Little Things. This is a whole thing that's going on with HBO where they're releasing movies each month. For a month for a month it'll be on HBO Max. While that's happening, it'll also be released in theaters due to the pandemic. And due to some places that don't really have too much of a pandemic issues, maybe they can go. But this is mostly for the pandemic. So, this movie was directed by John Lee Hancock, who's done The Blind Side, excuse me, Saving Mr. Banks, The Rookie, and The Highwaymen. So he definitely has a lot of kind of movies that are like this direction, minus Saving Mr. Banks. That has a kind of that rugged kind of direction. But let me break down everything first. So the plot is pretty much we have a detective who is part of he's a Kern County, California detective, or deputy sheriff, who goes to team up with a detective from, an LA detective, Baxter, as they find the serial killer and hunt the serial killer down. So what goes on is that Deck who's played by Denzel Washington, has a really good eye for like the little things kind of thing. So noticing very small details to solve a case. Unfortunately, in the past, when he was a detective, he got obsessed with this case that was with all these women being murdered, and he got so obsessed that he ended up getting a heart attack while also having a divorce because he was so obsessed with the case. Never ends up solving it. So going to the future now, or into the more present, he pretty much is teaming up with Baxter, who's also a detective, who is solving a case about a serial killer that's doing the same similar like tactics in his killings. So Deck is like, okay, this is it. This is completely what's going on. You need to work with me to do this, but everybody else in the like precinct is very like, oh, don't trust Deck. He's a bit crazy. All these things happened in the past, and now he wants to be involved. Like, we can't do that. We can't have another breakdown. So, but Baxter's like, whatever. Baxter's also being played by Rami Malek, who's been in a lot of things lately. Mr. Robot, Bohemian Rhapsody. So pretty much they're looking to hunt down this person. They look up all these clues and everything, and they find a guy who's named Sparma, who's played by Jared Leto, who's in Dallas Buyers Club and Suicide Squad and Requiem of the Dream. So he pretty much becomes a suspect, and it kind of spins out to spoilers. By the way, always spoilers. I never not spoiling anything. Pretty much, they suspect that Sparma is the guy. He pretty much knows that he's being a suspect because he's like a crime junkie. He loves to know about the crime, so he knew about Deck's past crime as much as he knew about the recent crime thing too. The recent crime that they're looking for. So they suspect it's him. They're all thinking like it must be him, and they end up going to a space where Sparmer's like, I'll show you the bodies, and then while he goes to a place to show them the bodies in this like huge area, like field, he's like, start digging. He says to Baxter digs. He's like, oh no, actually it's this spot. So Baxter digs that spot, and he says that spot. And meanwhile, Deck figures out that they're gone off somewhere to find the bodies, and Sparman at the very last minute is like, just so you know, I never killed anybody before. So then he starts taunting him too, and to the point where Baxter hits him with a shovel, and all of a sudden he's dead. Like, by one hit of the shovel, he's completely dead. So, and it's all about him, and so Baxter's freaking out. He's like, what do I do? And Deck is revealed to have done this, has been in this situation before, for he has accidentally killed a witness who was running from the killer while he was hunting down the killer at night, and pretty much killed the girl, and then covered it up with the help of Flo, who's the coroner, played by Michael Hyatt, who I really love from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She plays a therapist. So this is happening again. So the history is repeating itself, and Baxter's like, "What'd I do? I definitely know he did it. I definitely know he did it." He's like, "It doesn't fucking matter. Like, we're gonna clear this up, bury him, clear up all the apartments, and we never speak of this again." Because he's done this before. And so Baxter still believes it happened, but then we get this weird kind of ending where it says like, "Oh, the ribbon that was in one of the female's hairs that was missing due to the serial killer. That was something they were trying to find, this red ribbon, and he gets a letter. He gets pretty much a envelope that has it in there. So Baxter's like, it must be. So okay, this must confirm that Deck, when he was cleaning out the apartment of Sparma, he found these things, which he technically did. But so now he thinks he's like, oh, for sure he did it now, right? As meanwhile, we're going back to Deck, he's been cleaning up everything, putting everything in the bag of Sparma's belongings and burning them in his trash can. He also ends up burning several ribbons hair ribbons that were that was inside the apartment. So it leads us to think that maybe Sparma was the actual suspect. So with that, breaking down the whole story, let's talk about the flaws and why I don't like it. And I did not like the movie at all. So, and also why, there's more reason why I didn't like the movie. So first of all, John Lee Hancock he wrote this screenplay for the film almost 30 years ago, in 1993. Which is funny because the movie is placed in 1990s as well. So you would think that, okay, so it released at that time, that would make more sense, but it wasn't. And so 30 years later, and things change, of course, he's releasing a movie and plot that has been done so many times in so many detective movies and so many detective shows that it was just completely a waste of time. The whole movie was a waste of time. I understand that having Denzel and Remy and Jared being part of this whole thing was supposed to be like, oh, here comes an Oscar. Like, it did not work. It did not work at all. Them being talented actors with the idea that maybe Jared Leto maybe isn't, my personal opinion, is that it didn't really move anything. It didn't make anything better, knowing that they were like great Oscar-nominated winners. So didn't really work out. The dialogue was very, very dated, and that shows due to the fact that these dialogues was something you can see inside the 90s. And definitely there's this part where Baxter's like talking to Deck, and he's trying to get to know him better or something like that. And he's like, do you believe in God? And it's just like, yeah, we've heard this spiel that falls into a dialogue about the idea of a entity living or not, and whether that person believes it. And it's like, we've seen this before. And it just became a whole thing throughout the whole thing. Like, I've seen that before. Oh, one cop's older and seasoned, while the other one's a little young and naive, and together they make a great team. But do they? They didn't really make a great team, honestly. Another thing is that it felt like when I watched the whole thing, I was like, so you released this was made in the 90s. You didn't release it until now. Wouldn't you think you would upgrade some things, some of the screenplay, maybe the whole screenplay, due to the fact that you might have seen any of the movies in the past 30 years that have done that direction. But of course, it just felt like he just kind of like, here's a movie I've been waiting on to release. I don't really care about looking at the details of it and the fact that some of the things included in dialogue is completely dated. But whatever. So he just threw it out there, and it just felt like a complete waste of time, and it makes me kind of judge exactly what John Lee Hancock is actually as a director or writer. Just like, what were you thinking of doing this, you know? So it felt, and with that said, thinking that way, it felt a bit pretentious. Like, oh, no one noticed this. It was like, of course we did. We've seen this happen so many times. So, and also there's a lot of pieces where it's just like, had to suspend belief because it was just like, oh, we bury bodies and that's just how it works. And she, if a suspect doesn't have any evidence, he can just be harmed and everything's fine. Like the fact that the guy did not sue Deck for coming after him in the middle of the interrogation just because Sparman was taunting him, that he is ridiculous. He basically was I thought in my head was like, oh, he's taunting them because he knows that if he gets touched, he can sue all of them, you know? But he doesn't. He doesn't do that, so it's just like, oh, interesting. I know from Closer and Major Crimes and CSI and Law and Order that exactly was what goes on, you know? So that was that. And then what else I wanted to talk about? Oh, Jared Leto. So I know that everybody loves Jared Leto and everybody loves him as an actor, but I'm feeling like he's doing the same roles over and over again. This is pretty much Joker. This is pretty much what was the other thing he was doing that he was like super? No, that's a different guy. But it's just the recent roles he's done, other than Requiem of a Dream and Dallas Buyers Club, is that, well, no, even Dallas Buyers Club, even playing the person that he was playing, it just felt like very similar pace. And also Malik also needs to, I don't really understand his thing. The stuff I've been seeing, especially watching Mr. Robot here and there, felt like he also was doing the same type of thing. Actually, I feel like they all are doing the same type of thing that they usually do. There was no newness to their sound, and maybe that's just a screenplay or something, but it just felt so flat. The whole movie was just flat and boring and left with some weird kind of like, ooh, what could have happened at the end kind of thing, and it's just like nothing, because it wasn't worth it to figure out and to run back and watch this. This isn't Inception, you know? So anyway, that's pretty much it. It's my thought about the movie. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought about the movie. If you liked it, let me know. And if you didn't like it, let me know. If you like this movie, hit the like button, If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.